Well, is it too late to have a Thanksgiving video? I hope not, because I've got 10 things for which I think we as watch lovers can all be thankful. Welcome back to the Humble Horologist channel. I'm Anthony, and I am the Humble Horologist. Actually, I'm not really much of a horologist. I'm a watch fan, like most of you are, and it is Thanksgiving still. At least it is for another few hours. By the way, I'm wearing my Orient Ray 2 in orange, because it's orange, and that's like a Thanksgiving color. Thanksgiving is an American holiday, but maybe some of you who are watching are not American, and maybe you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and maybe you don't have an affinity for turkey and dressing, and maybe you don't even believe in God, the one to whom our forefathers were thankful. Regardless, we're all about watches here, are we not? And I think that there are 10 things that we as watch lovers can all be thankful for. Our wrist, it's sort of like obvious. Well, we all have wrists. Well, not everybody has wrists. And what if we didn't have wrists? What if we only had elbows? You know how hard that would be? Come right off. The second thing that I think we can all be thankful for, Coil Springs. Did you know before the coil spring was invented, it would have been really hard to have a compact clock? Because before that, everything was regulated by a swinging pendulum. It's like, can you imagine having to walk around like this the whole time saying, hey, have you got the correct time? I don't know. Are you swinging with me? The third thing I think we can all be thankful for, well, it's a who we can all be thankful for, and that is Abraham Breguet. Lowell Abraham was the one who invented the wristwatch. At least that's what I'm told on Wikipedia and other places. But at least he came up with a wristwatch for a woman of nobility. And he created the watch for Marie Antoinette, which is a beauty. Of course, he also came up with the tourbillon. Just a little thing. The next thing that we can all be thankful for, well, again, these are people. Cartier and Santos. Of course, everybody knows Cartier, right? Cartier is a celebrated watchmaker, but did you know that Cartier was the first one to create a pilot's watch, of which you can still buy today? Well, Santos, last name, was the one that he created it for. Because why? Santos was a pilot. And back then, flying a plane using both hands, it's hard to do if you had to pick out your pocket watch and look at, what time is it? What time is it? Ah! We can be thankful for Cartier answering the call of Santos to create for him a watch that he could wear on his wrist. And we can thank Santos for keeping both hands on the wheel. The next thing that I think that we can all be thankful for is that high heels, girdles, and other women's fashions did not go the way of the watch. I had to read that so that I could say it the way I wanted to say it. I'm so thankful that women's fashion didn't catch on in the men's world like watches did. For those of you who don't know, watches used to be something that only women wore. Of course, Santos and Cartier had their little thing with a flight watch, but mostly up until World War I, men usually carried pocket watches. And that was the thing to have as a man. Women wore watches on their wrists or as necklaces. Now, when World War I came along, wrist watches became a whole lot more popular because they served a very critical purpose, in that they could be on the wrist and not in a pocket, getting caught, getting lost, and you could use both hands at the same time, like with a rifle, and not have to worry about looking into your pocket for your pocket watch. But thankfully, we can say that none of those other women's fashions picked up, so that we men today, instead of wearing watches, wear high heels and pettiskirts and girdles and all that other stuff. Of course, I'm speaking from a he, him pronoun perspective. Now, the sixth thing that I think that we can all be thankful for is that Seiko didn't kill the watch industry. Thank you, Seiko. The next thing for which we can all be thankful is something that we probably rarely think about. Watch loom. You realize that it was literally up until 1968 that radioactive loom was still being used on watch dials? Yes, the loom that lit up our dials in the dark was actually killing us. Well, maybe not killing us, but it did make some people sick. And it had long-term effects on our health, one way or the other. So eventually, Luminova, Superluminova, and other names that we use for it came along, and this was something that gave us phosphorescence instead of radiation to light up our nights and to cause us to look at our watches in the dark with such love. Now here's something else. Number 8 on the list of 10 things for which we can all be thankful. Modern technology. Now guys, honestly, no matter who you are or where you're from, I believe that we should be thankful for modern technology. Just stop and think about it. You and I could not be having this conversation if, well, I'm talking, you're listening, and you're talking if you're typing. And I hope that you do. I hope that you comment, and I hope that you like, and I hope that you subscribe, and I hope that you share this video with anybody and everybody you know. That would be wonderful. But I'm thankful that we have the opportunity to communicate across the seas with things such as YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and whatever else is out there. The technology that we have to get together, especially after a pandemic, has been so wonderful because we get to share ideas, we get to talk with each other, we get to share in the passion of watches in ways that we never would have been able to do if we had to do it by old-fashioned mail or telephone calls. And that brings me to the 9th thing for which we can all be thankful: community. I want to say that I am so thankful for the opportunity that I've had over the last couple of years to be able to meet and to get to know other people who like watches. Now, a lot of you have liked watches, loved watches, been in the watch world for years, longer than I have. I'm new to this. Some of you have been doing it longer than I've been alive. And I'm thankful for your expertise. And I'm thankful that you're willing to bring your expertise, and all of you are willing to bring your knowledge and your love together in a community. Because, you know, we as people, we need community. We're made for community. We need each other. And so even though I've got a little puppy that's down here running around my feet, having a dog to talk to is not the same as having someone who can speak our own language. And when we speak the language of watches, we're speaking a language that we all understand and we can all get together on. And that makes me think of something else. You know, you and I may have different beliefs in a lot of different areas. You may believe in a different form of government. You may believe in a different religion. You may have a whole different philosophical understanding of the world. But isn't it neat how that, at least with watches, we found a way that we can make bridges between our different communities and come together around something that we have an affinity for? Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that more often in other ways? Yes, we have disagreements, but we can all be friends here. Why can't we be friends in other areas too? So why not let the watch community be an example to the rest of the world? So why not let the watch community be an example to the rest of the world? There are things that we disagree upon. We don't agree on the same politics. We have different views of religion and philosophy. But it is so great how that we can come together here and talk about watches on our respective platforms and be friends. You realize there are things that separate us and in some cases make our nations enemies, but people, no matter where I've gone in the world, are just people. And even though we may have some differences, We just really want to get along. And I think that watches has been something that has shown that we can come together around something and find common ground. You think there might be other things that we can do that with? I think so. Let this be an example. And the 10th thing for which I think we can all be thankful is the fact we had another day. Aren't you glad you had another day to live? Thanksgiving for me is just about over. Just a few hours from now, it might be over for you. You might be celebrating the Christmas season now. You might be out shopping on Black Friday. But you know what? We can be thankful that we had another day. What do watches actually do for us? They tell the time. They don't tell how much time we have left. They only show us where we are in a moment of time. We need to be thankful every moment for every moment we have, but we're not guaranteed another. Be thankful for the opportunity that you've been given, I believe, by God, to live and to make a difference in this world, and ultimately, I believe, to give Him glory. But whatever you believe, understand that you have a limited amount of time on this earth. Love people, make a difference, use your time wisely. Be thankful for the time you have and don't waste it, because like I've been saying all along, watches are replaceable, but time is not. See you in the next video, and Merry Christmas.